All right, so I figured I might do another late night live stream tonight. Um, I did one earlier, and I just want to kind of think about I want to think about churches, and also mega churches, and the difference between the two, and how churches like Joel Osteen church. Joel Osteen is in the news a good bit, at least when it comes to the YouTube news. And the question has been kind of hovering around as to whether churches should be taxed at all. Currently, the way taxes work is that there are tax forms like it. Let's say you have a business, and let's say you have a HVAC business and you're doing some work for a church. Whatever they're going to pay you is not going to be taxed. They're not going to be no tax will be laid on them because they're a nonprofit church. And typically, anything that is nonprofit isn't going to have taxes, and churches are one of them. However, with churches, it's sort of difficult to think about this. It's difficult to decide whether they should be taxed or not, because you do have these nonprofit or they are not for profit, and also they are organizations that do become very large because they have many people giving tithes and offerings and donations and of all kinds. So that's how a church becomes a mega church, because there's something there that brings people. And lots of times it has happened that pastors turn out to be not as Christ-like or godly, or not really godly, but holy or pure as they have been viewed by that church. Now, I'm not saying blatantly that all churches should be taxed at all, because I am a Christian and I do believe in what these non-Catholic churches believe in, and I think it goes beyond Protestants or Catholics or Episcopalians, Lutherans, Methodists, Presbyterians, whatever. It goes beyond that. It comes down to the why a church is there, I think. That went right in my eye. So I think that the question is, first of all, why is the church there? And if you're looking from the standpoint of religion, which should be, because the church is there because the Bible said, let's build the church, or the temple, as it says in the Bible, and you should go there, and the Bible doesn't say that you have to go to church in order to be a good Christian. It does say, however, that it's better for you to be with other Christians. It's good for you to go to church, be with other Christians, talk to other Christians, and worship with them, and I guess go through life with them, because you will do better that way. That's kind of a paraphrasing of what the Bible says about church, about the church, that we should build it and that you should go. That's kind of a bit of what it's saying. And I don't think that all churches should be taxed, because there are many churches who don't even have a building, who use a gymnasium of a high school or a elementary school, or they will use some building on Sundays, or on weeknights, to do the things that they do there, and who don't have much money, but they still are able to do those things. And I think that God, personally, as you know, God does a lot of things through churches. God helps people who have nothing. God does a lot of things for them. God does people who are starving in third world countries. God does a lot of things through churches. So I don't think overall that churches should be taxed at all. However, the problem I mean, overall, I think that churches are good things. They are wonderful things. They are wonderful places where you can meet wonderful people, and you can worship with them, and you can have someone, and have many people actually, who will basically go with you and be with you and learn with you on this thing that is called life. However, the problem starts when we have something called a megachurch. Megachurch is something where you have multiple large, even luxurious buildings that have who have big glass windows and very, very huge, luxurious architectural buildings, where it's obvious that a ton of money has gone into this, a ton of money, and I think that's very interesting. It is a megachurch phenomenon is so crazy to me. I do definitely agree with that. I think it's a problem, and I think it's often where megachurches happen, where the reason a church is supposed to exist, as is said in the Bible, megachurches often, I think, go beyond that. They don't stick to that always. They worry about money, and they worry about building more luxurious buildings. They worry about money and money. There's a verse in the Bible that says you can't serve both God and money, and money should not be a thing anymore. It shouldn't be a thing once you have started this new life in Christ. You should be serving God now instead of money. You cannot serve both. And I think when megachurches happen, I think it's sort of money becomes a part of the picture, and you can't serve both. You can't have your attention, and money becomes, in this world and to people, a god. It becomes an idol. Money is a kind of idol, and the Bible says that you are not supposed to serve and pray to and worship idols. Money is an idol, and I'm not saying that we should all not use money, because money is, a way of living, and that's how, and you work to make money, and you live by money. But your life, and your reason for your life. Thank you. Really, really good points. Really, really, really good points. Thank you. I just really think that, there are ways in which that people live their life by trying to gain more money and more possessions, and live their life by money rather than God. Or even even if we're talking about atheists here, people who would rather worry about money than their wife or their kids. Similar problem here, and I think megachurches are a huge problem. I think that I'm not saying that every single megachurch is evil and should be taxed, horribly, because I think that there probably are a couple megachurches who are doing some great things for unfortunate people, and who are doing great things for people who do not know God. However, I think that with some megachurches, not necessarily Joel Osteen's church, but because I don't really know a whole lot about Joel Osteen or his church. I know that he's written some good books, but I don't. I just think the phenomena of a megachurch is a problem, to where when people see something in that church which is good and is godly and is holy, people flock to that. And that's when you have people who are constantly tithing and giving offerings and donating to this church, where it becomes enormous. And I think that it's very possible that people can get sidetracked and they can make mistakes because they see all this money coming in, and things can become more about the money. So I think that I don't know how you would do this, but I think maybe it's possible that if churches receive a certain amount of money, that maybe they should be taxed. That's kind of an issue, I think. That maybe they should be taxed if things become huge like that, if money in that church becomes just astronomical, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of a big issue. But I think it would be, yeah. I mean, I think it would be bad if they made some law that where it was made into law that all churches would be taxed. I think that would hurt small churches. It would make it harder for churches who have their Sunday services in a school gymnasium. I think it would hurt churches who have buildings but are very, very small buildings and have very, 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 very little money and are trying to make it. I think it would be difficult in that way. But I think that the idea of a megachurch should be regulated in some way, because I don't think that all of these megachurches who have astronomical amounts of money and are doing these different things with money and I think it's very possible that they have come to serve money instead of the real reason why they should be there. So that's a problem I think that should be probably addressed. Let me know your thoughts on this. A couple of you already have, but thank you very much for watching.